You are tuned into a special player spotlight interview on the CS Podcast.
Vernon Adams out of Oregon here for the West, in for another drive. The quarterback who had touchdown earlier has some time. Now he's going to chuck it deep. Got Anthrop from Purdue wide open across midfield. Danny Anthrop is gone. And we had that here.
Welcome to another episode of the CS Podcast presented by the MUC NFL Draft Bible, bringing you the names that you need to know first since 2002. Visit NFLDraftBible.com. I'm your guys' host, Chris Shanafelt, back from St. Petersburg, Florida, covering the Shrine game in which the West team defeated the East team 29-9. Oregon quarterback Vernon Adams Jr. was the offensive MVP, completing 6 of 9 passes for 191 yards and 3 touchdowns. The defensive MVP was Wisconsin defensive back Mike Caputo, who intercepted 2 passes. And throughout the week, I was able to chat with a few players from both teams after practice, including the offensive MVP, Vernon Adams Jr. Be sure to check out those interviews on my YouTube page, youtube.com/ChristianRE722 and NFLDraftBible.com. Our next guest he was also down there in St. Pete, Florida, for the Shrine game over the weekend. And as you heard in the intro, courtesy of NFL Network, he had a big impact on the game, reeling in that 93-yard pass, 93-yard touchdown from Vernon Adams Jr. That play actually goes down as the longest touchdown scored in the history of the Shrine game, which has been going on for now 91 years. He is the wide receiver out of Purdue, Danny Anthrop. And Danny, we appreciate you taking some time to chat this afternoon. I'm curious, while you were down making the trip to St. Pete, what were some of the things that you had in mind that you wanted to achieve, that you wanted to show in front of the 300-plus NFL scouts that were in attendance?
Really the first thing that I had to do was show the scouts that I was healthy. I had an ACL tear last year at the end of the 2014 season, so that was one of the big things I had to do, and then really just grab their attention and show that I had the ability to play at the next level.
Yeah, and making that 93-yard touchdown, getting the pass from Vernon Adams, you certainly got a lot of attention, and you really had a great week of practice as well, I thought. Take us through that 93-yard touchdown pass from Vernon Adams. I mean, how were you able to get so wide open? I mean, I don't think I think the closest defender to you was about 6-7 yards away from you.
Yeah, the pre-snap read, the safety was in the middle of the field, and Vernon looked him off to the right, and he kind of scrambled around a little bit, and I kind of settled out there, probably 40 yards downfield, and Vernon has a really quick release, so when he threw it to me, they didn't really have a whole lot of an indicator of where he was going, and I remember seeing the ball come my way. And I could see out of the corner of my eyes the corner and the safety coming after me. I knew I had to, turn the jets on pretty fast. And, once I grabbed it, it was just kind of off to the races.
Every year, throughout these all-star games, whether it's the Shrine game, the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, or the Senior Bowl, we hear so much about how big chemistry is, especially for the quarterbacks. How big is chemistry for you, the receiver, to kind of know where to go for the quarterback while he's throwing the ball? I mean, that sounds like you and Vernon Adams had to kind of read each other's minds a bit for that play to happen.
Yeah, all week Vernon Adams had talked about what he wants the receivers to do when he starts scrambling like that. And he said just go deep and try to get open. And, he was kind of spot on with what we did. And, I was kind of surprised that he didn't just take off and run because he has those wheels. You saw him do that a couple times in the game. But, he really took advantage of the coverage that they were in, and it really paid off for us.
5 receptions for a game-high 120 yards and a touchdown. Again, like I said, I thought you had a really nice week of practice as well. Obviously, you were able to translate that week of practice to the game field for the 23,000-plus that were in attendance and for those who watched on the NFL Network. Talk about your game, though, overall, Danny. I mean, describe it to us if you can. I mean, you're 6 foot, 193 pounds, but you can make an impact both in the slot and on the outside.
Yeah, I feel like the versatility is something that's huge in the next level. And, from my point of view, I can go inside, outside, but also through my career at Purdue, I showed that I can play special teams, both as a returner and as a gunner. And I didn't really get a whole lot of an opportunity to do any gunning this week or really returning, but if you can't do those and you're just a receiver, it's kind of hard for you to stick on a team early in your career. So I think the way I play and, the different skill set I have, I feel like that'd be huge for me going into the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, versatility, whether it's on the offensive side of the ball or special teams, and obviously you're willing to play special teams, it sure sounds like. That's definitely huge, especially for the next level. The head coach of the West team was June Jones, who obviously has a lot of coaching experience both in the college game as well as the pros. He brought in former NFL Pro Bowl wide receiver Terrence Mathis in to coach the wideouts. What were some of the things you were able to take away from, being coached by those two guys?
Coming from Coach Mathis, what he really brought to the table and told us was how much of a cerebral game football was, because he said that he ran like a 4.6 and was telling us that, if you know the game and you know the tricks of the trade, then you can find yourself open on almost every play. And, he did a really good job teaching us those things. And June Jones, he taught us just the importance of knowing your assignment through and through and being mistake-free mentally. He said they can handle physical mistakes in the NFL, but no mental mistakes. And, his offense was really effective with the personnel that we had, and it was really fun to be able to put his system to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, every year, the Shrine Game does a great job bringing in a very experienced coaching staff, and obviously they did that once again this year with June Jones, who I believe was it's actually his second year coaching the East-West Shrine Game, and of course he's able to bring along Coach Terrence Mathis as well for the wide receivers. Now, I know that every NFL team sent at least one scout down to watch the practices. It's arguably the top college football all-star game in the nation. It's the longest running NFL college football all-star game in the nation. What feedback were you getting from some of the scouts that you're able to chat with?
They just told me I had a great week in practice, and the interviews that I went through were mostly like background checks and just kind of general interviews. But, I feel like I got pretty good feedback from everybody. I think the biggest thing for me was just getting down there, getting my name out, and, taking advantage of the opportunity for me to go down there and play.
All right. Now you said, they were kind of general interviews, a lot of background questions and whatnot. I got to ask you, man, did they ask any weird questions, or what was the weirdest question that they asked? Because I know, at the NFL Combine, they'll ask you anything and everything just to hear what you'll say.
I really didn't have a whole lot of, out of the ordinary questions. I thought it was kind of funny when they had asked me if I had a girlfriend, and I told them, yeah. Then the next question was, do you have any kids? So that was kind of funny for me. But, it really wasn't too crazy, but I heard some of the stuff at the Combine is like, what's your favorite animal, or what animal you'd be?
Right. Yeah. They come up with some pretty good ones down there in Indianapolis. Now, I really thought that the Big Ten, the conference as a whole, I thought that you guys were represented very well down there in St. Pete. Talk about the overall competition, though, if you could. I mean, what was it like to go head-to-head with some of these guys from, some of the top schools in the country? I mean, does anybody specific stand out, or whether they're on the offensive side, the defensive side of the ball, did anybody really open your eyes down there throughout the week of practice?
I think that the Big Ten guys really performed extremely well, especially on our team. We had Caputo with 2 picks, and then the Illinois safety, Clayton, he had an interception as well. I think that we had just a good showing. I think that our offensive line was really good, and they performed well with each other, and they really were cohesive from the start, and they were from all over the country. They're from the Mountain West, the Big Ten, the Pac-10 or Pac-12. It's kind of crazy to see guys that have never played a snap of football together, and then they come in on Saturday and they perform so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned a lot of the great talent that was in the game from the Big Ten. Of course, fellow wide receiver Geronimo Allison made a lot of noise as well. He hauled in 2 touchdown passes in the game on Saturday. Now, Danny, for those who may not know, the Shrine Game, it was created back in 1925. Again, this was the 91st year of the game's existence, and, of course, their desire is to support the Shriners Hospital for Children in its mission to help children in need of expert of medical care. And every year, all the players and coaches spend a few hours at the hospital. You guys take a bunch of time and meet with a bunch of kids and really just have a good time. I mean, can you talk about your visit to the Shriners Hospital?
It was awesome, really eye-opening, seeing how much support that hospital has down there and how much that the Shriners do for the hospital. They say it costs over $1 million a day just for general cost of running all the hospitals in the world for the Shriners, because they have some in Canada, Mexico, all over the U.S. So they really rely on a lot of donations and a lot of generosity from people. Because they take care of these kids to no cost to the family, and that's really something that's special. And I think it was awesome for guys going in there who have a very legitimate shot to make a lot of money, and kind of touch their hearts and pull at their heartstrings for support when they make it.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta think it's a very humbling experience, to say the least. Again, he's Danny Anthrop, the wide receiver out of Purdue, coming off of a very impressive showing down in St. Pete, Florida at the Shrine Game. Joining me here on the CS podcast, presented by the NUC NFL Draft Bible. And at the start of the interview, Danny, you mentioned that near the end of the 2014 season, you did suffer a very serious knee injury. You tore your ACL against Nebraska. I'm not sure if you have a set schedule that you like to go through, every off season, but I'm sure your schedule heading into your senior year was a bit different. What was it like to, having to rehab your knee throughout the off season, and what did you learn about yourself throughout that process? I mean, do you have a newfound love for the game of football after going through that injury?
Yeah, going into every game, I approach it like it's my last one, but after you tear your ACL and really have a major injury like that, it really puts that saying of "play it like it's your last" to hold a lot of truth. And in the off season, it took a lot for me to get healthy, because I had the ACL tear and some meniscus damage, but I had a really, really good surgeon perform my operation, and I think the whole 2015 season now is kind of still reeling from that injury a little bit, and I wasn't really healthy. So that's why I'm so excited to get down to St. Pete and perform while I was healthy.
Yeah, and I think it really does look like you did a great job rehabbing that knee. It looks like you had a great deal of support, and of course the doctors that worked on it as well, because something that really stood out about your game, Danny, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, is obviously your speed. And you showed it throughout your time as a Boilermaker, and you showed it throughout the week at the Shrine. What are you looking to clock in the 40 at the Combine or at your Pro Day? I'm curious.
I truly expect to run a 4.3, and I'd be pretty disappointed if I didn't run a 4.3. I've been running that kind of a time since probably the summer of 2011 or 2010. So, it's kind of crazy because I saw some of the highlights in the game, and I saw a couple tweets from different people online, and they said that I had deceptive speed and I had a surprising burst. And it's kind of crazy because if they knew anything about me, it wouldn't be surprising.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but you fit the mold, man. I mean, we heard about all the white receivers or the white running backs, the Danny Amendolas of the world, the Julian Edelmans, the Danny Woodheads of the world. Very deceptive speed, something that you don't really expect. But when it comes to you and your game, obviously watching the tape and being able to watch you in practice, in the game live, that speed certainly does stand out. And we've seen it on that 93-yard touchdown that you received from Vernon Adams Jr. And now the Shrine game is behind you, Danny. What's next for you on your agenda as you continue to gear up for the 2016 NFL Draft?
Next on my agenda is continue my training at Purdue, and with our strength and speed coach there, and then we have our pro day on March 4th. So that's what I'm preparing for now.
All right. Sounds great. And, of course, we're going to look for that 4.3 40-yard dash. Now, we're going to end the interview with something that I like to call the 2-minute drill, Danny. Some of these questions could be football-related, and some will be random questions about just about anything. Are you ready to knock some of these out?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll start off with what is your favorite TV show and movie?
Favorite TV show would be Game of Thrones for sure, and favorite movie, that's tough. I just saw a really good movie, The Revenant. That was a great movie. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Here's a question that I'm really looking forward to hearing your answer to. Who would you say you model your game after?
I would say Danny Amendola or Julian Edelman. Both those guys play in a way that I think I'm very similar to.
All right, sounds good. Moving on, if you had a plane ticket to travel anywhere you wanted, and of course we're coming back from St. Pete, Florida, and obviously being from the Midwest, St. Pete, Florida, it sounds great to go back to, I'll tell you that. Where would you like to go if you had a plane ticket to travel anywhere you wanted?
I'd like to go to the Bahamas. It's always sunny down there, and it's always warm.
All right. Hey, St. Pete isn't the Bahamas, but hey, you know what? I'll certainly take it. But yeah, the Bahamas, obviously, definitely one of the top answers I get to that question. If you could go one-on-one with any defensive back currently playing in the NFL, who would that be?
I think it'd be fun to go against Richard Sherman because he claims to be the best, and he is an extremely good player. And it'd be kind of cool to go up against a player of his caliber.
All right, now I got to ask, going up against Richard Sherman, we know he kind of likes to talk throughout the game. Are you much of a talker while you're in live game action?
I'm not really a big talker, unless someone gives me a reason to. But no, not really. I like to stay low key.
All right, just a few more questions, and then I'll let you. I really do appreciate your time, Danny. Favorite restaurant? Where if you, let's say, you're able to have any meal anywhere, where are you going?
I would probably be going to McGraw's Steakhouse in West Lafayette. It's like a family-owned steakhouse on the river. That's one of my favorite places to eat.
All right, and finish the sentence. If it wasn't for football.
If it wasn't for football, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to play, sports at a high level in college, and I also wouldn't be graduating debt-free. And I think that's so huge, especially in today's society where so many people are graduating with a ton of college debt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and obviously the average NFL career is 3.5 years, so to have that degree behind you is certainly huge, for your future, big time. So now that we know the two teams that will be playing in Super Bowl 50, Danny, I got to get a prediction: Broncos or Panthers?
I'm going to go with the Panthers. I think that Cam Newton's on such a roll, and the Panthers have such a good defense as well. I know their defensive lineman, Kawan Short, and I'm going to be cheering him on because he's a former Boiler.
Yeah, that's right. East Chicago project, and obviously Purdue alum. Now, final question for you. Let's say we got all 32 NFL general managers tuning into this interview, Danny. Why should they want the wide receiver out of Purdue University, Danny Anthrop, the wide receiver, of course, a part of their team?
I'm willing to do anything for a team. I'm willing to play special teams, and I also have a pretty good skill set for the offensive side of the ball. And you're always going to get my 100% effort at all times. So I think I can play in the NFL, and I think that I can make an impact, and that's why they'd want me.
And you showed this past week that you could make an impact. And like I said, that was my last question for you, Danny. I really do appreciate you taking some time this afternoon. Again, it was really a great time being able to watch you and some of the top prospects in the country this past week. I almost got ran over once in each practice. The first practice in the morning was tight end Darion Griswold out of Arkansas State. The second one was Danny Anthrop, the wide receiver out of Purdue University, near the sidelines. So, I got to say, again, it was a lot of fun watching you this past week. Had a lot of fun watching some of your tape, getting ready for this interview as well. And I'm wishing you all the best as you get set for the 2016 NFL Draft.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on your show.